Okay, so today we're talking about characteristics of quadrilaterals. Just know that a quadrilateral has these properties. It's a closed shape, so there's no gaps in the shape or anything like that. Has four sides and four angles. So we've been talking about triangles, which has three sides and three angles. Now we're talking about quadrilaterals with four sides and four angles. And just know that remember the most important part of this is at the bottom here. The sum of all the angles will equal 360 degrees. All right, and there's a little rule basically to figure out what the angles add up to depending on how many sides, and it's basically if you take the number of sides and you subtract two. So let's say our quadrilateral has four sides, so if we take 4 minus 2 and then we multiply that by 180, that tells us what the angles will add up to. So a quadrilateral has four sides. If you subtract 2, you get 2. 2 times 180 is 360. Remember, a triangle had three sides, so if you take 3 minus 2, you get 1 times 180 is 180. Remember, the angles added up to 180. So it's just a little rule to remember for angles and stuff like that. So these are the characteristics of quadrilaterals. Now let's learn the different types. All right, so let's forget about that slide, move on. Here's a parallelogram. A parallelogram is a quadrilateral with both pairs of opposite sides parallel and equal in length. So this side is equal to this side, and then this side is equal to this side, and then opposite sides are also parallel. All right, so that's a parallelogram. You can tell by the different nomen, like the different way they've got it written here. The little triangle thing, that means parallel. The one triangle with the one triangle means that side's parallel to that side. The little one tick mark with the one tick mark there, the little line, that means that side's congruent to that side. So that's a parallelogram. A rectangle is a parallelogram with four right angles. So basically, you take the parallelogram and you put 90-degree angles at all four of its corners, and that is a rectangle. So a rectangle is a special type of parallelogram. All right. A rhombus is a parallelogram with all the sides the same length. So a rhombus is a special type of parallelogram as well. In this case, all four sides are equal. Okay. Um, then we have a square, which is basically a rectangle with all the sides the same length. So a square is basically, it's a special rectangle and a special rhombus, which were both special parallelograms. So the square has four 90-degree angles, all four sides are equal, and opposite sides are parallel. All right, so those are the geometric definitions of those types of shapes. Everybody knows what a square is, but the geometry of it there you might not have known there. So, and the final type of quadrilateral that we can have is called a trapezoid, and it's basically a quadrilateral with only one pair of parallel sides. So notice the little triangle here with this triangle, that side's parallel, but these are not. I sort of think of a trapezoid as if you took a little triangle and you cut the top off of it. That's what a trapezoid would be. All right. So those are the types of quadrilaterals that you can have. Notice in this slide, you have a parallelogram, which is it has opposite sides parallel and equal in length. Parallelogram has two special things that can come out of it. You can have a rectangle, which is a special parallelogram, and a rhombus. And then you have the square, which is a super special parallelogram because it's both a rectangle and a rhombus. All right. We'll skip through these slides. And let's look at the last slide. What I want you to do is take a minute and pause the video and think about what shapes belong in each of these things. So notice some of these things are going to have more than one shape. Take a second and see if you can think about which shapes belong in which ones, and then come back and we'll see. Okay, so a quadrilateral is any four-sided shape. So basically all the shapes down here will go into this box. So quadrilateral is there's no special definition other than it has four sides, is a closed shape, and the angles add up to 360. Now parallelogram, remember we have this. This is the parallelogram, but remember we had a couple special types of parallelograms as well. We had the rhombus, which was a special parallelogram. We had the rectangle, which was a special parallelogram, and then we have a square, which is a super special parallelogram. All right. In the third one, the trapezoid, basically that's the only thing that goes there. Rectangle, you have the rectangle, but also remember that a square is a special type of rectangle, so a square would go in there as well. All right. Square, you have the square, and that's all. And um, the rhombus, here's the rhombus, and it's a special type of parallelogram. So a square is also a rhombus. All right. So those look like all that belong in there. See if that matches what you thought. We'll check our work here and see if that was correct. Yes. So those are the correct things there. So that's the different types of figures that you can have, the different types of quadrilaterals. If you have any questions, please bring them to class.